Survivor specialist Phil and Will are back. We're coming up on our episode 11 predictions here. Episode 11, it's coming down to an end this season. It's going to be all about the ramifications of Ty's big, bold move. Is it going to pay off for him? Is it going to screw him? We're going to do power rankings. I updated the boot list, I think. We'll read some comments because we got a lot from other videos, and that's going to be our night. Go ahead, Will. Introduce yourselves.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that preview, the new one, it's all about Ty and how he's definitely going to go home and everyone's turning against him. So I did have Ty move up probably 2 spots because they wouldn't make it that obvious, and they're giving him such an underdog role. It's like he has to come out on top somehow, especially because he's been such a fan favorite throughout the entire season. So I'm kind of banking on Ty. I actually probably shouldn't be telling you this because now you're going to do this for your power rankings. But I assume you're thinking along the same lines.
Yeah, I mean, I have my power rankings done. I mean, I did it real quick after watching that preview. I mean, that preview, yeah, Ty's probably not going to go, but I mean, we'll see with the power.
Is he enough?
I want to see where you.
Can you put him at number 1?
No, I'm putting Michelle at number 1.
Of course you are. Okay. Do you want to explain that? There is a comment asking if you still have a crush on Michelle, and I didn't even know that was ever not in question. I feel like that's been pretty consistent since, before the season even started.
Yeah. I mean, I don't go back on that. Michelle, I hope wins based on nothing other than she's the best. And nobody else agrees with that. I think she's been voted like the second most boring player on this season behind Joe. I'm cool with that. I don't want anybody else to like her because I got no chance if everybody likes her. But yeah, I got Michelle at 1. I think Michelle's in a good spot though this week. And I know I've been putting her at 1 a lot. She hasn't been in danger. She's still not in danger this week. I think this week there's 4 people who can go home, and Michelle's not one of them. So I think Michelle's completely fine. It wouldn't make sense for Kyle and stuff to get rid of her because if they're going to make a move, they'd have to probably pull Michelle in. And if Ty plays as idol and Ty gets the most votes, he's not voting Michelle. He's going to vote for Kyle or Julia or Aubrey or Sid. I feel like Michelle is in no danger of going home yet again. She's playing a really good middle-of-the-road game. I know everybody's saying, like, I'm too high on her and everything, but she's playing a really good middle-of-the-road game. Her name never comes up, ever. And that's how you got to be in Survivor. Anybody but you, and it's never her.
Yeah, no, I think she's playing well. She just isn't the most entertaining. She definitely had more earlier on in the season, even though when Beauty wasn't going to tribal council, she was still kind of there. But it really, at least for me, it has been turned into the Aubrey show. I've been looking at a lot of Edgic stuff, a couple, and both of the ones that were full, blown Edgic charts, both of them had Michelle as the front runner right now, which blew my mind. So I don't think you are alone. I know you still, I think at this point you're rooting for Michelle more than you think she's going to win. But I was shocked to see that. I mean, I think Aubrey is so far ahead of the pack right now that I would be shocked if she doesn't go or if she doesn't win.
Yeah. The only thing that I could see happening with Aubrey is kind of like a Holly Hoffman type deal back in Nicaragua, where she was such an underdog at the beginning, gets talked into staying in the game, blindsides the person out of the game who talked them into staying, which is what Aubrey did to Debbie. And then she gets 4th place and just misses out on making it to the final tribal. So, I wouldn't be surprised I would be surprised if something like that happened. But in a season where we might get a final 2, it wouldn't be that crazy for that to happen. And you could just have a final 2 that's a little more boring of Michelle and Sydney, even though I like both of them a lot. Yeah, I could see something like that happening, but Aubrey was just bringing the most entertainment value.
Yeah, I could see that. It's not that Aubrey's even that entertaining though. You're getting all insight from her. You're getting why she does everything. The story's being narrated through her lens. It's Aubrey's story. And so I guess if she does lose, it'll be the story of Aubrey's loss and not someone else's win. But I'm thinking that she's going to win. I don't have her number 1. I have Joe number 1 because it's Joe. And I think this is my 3rd straight week, maybe second only. But Joe, I don't have much to say other than we have not seen him at all. There's no reason for him to go. He's completely just a non-factor at this point, which is good, I guess. That's how you get to the end.
Yeah, it's the same thing as with Michelle. I mean, Michelle's definitely more of a player than Joe, so anybody who tries to say otherwise is wrong. But, I mean, Joe's name's not coming up, and I got Michelle in my eliminator thing here, and I'm out of eliminator people after this week, so as long as Michelle survives this week, I win. So it doesn't even matter who you pick.
Wow.
If you
I mean,
want to pick.
besides my one just blunder week 2, I set it up pretty darn well for who ended up getting voted off. So I'm kind of bummed. Kind of saw this coming, but it's okay. How are the power rankings doing? How close are we?
I'm beating you by 5, so you could definitely still do it if, like, Michelle does get blindsided this week or something.
Did I drop last week, or are we tied?
Now, we both had Scott at 7. We both had Debbie at 8 the week before, and you picked up points on me with Nick. That's where you, like, got back in it.
Okay, got it. Yeah, well, Joe at number 1, and then I am going to go here. I'll go with Aubrey number 2, and I don't even think she's in that amazing of a spot, but for her to go home now would be pretty wild. I think Julia is someone you really have to look at that the girls might want to target. Ty is, of course, getting so much attention. You still have Sydney, who seems like she's playing a really good game, but she's one of those players that you could get voted out any given week just because she's been, I don't know, so middle of the road. So I feel good about Aubrey because I do honestly think she will end up winning this game.
And I'll go with my 2 and 3. I got Joe at 2, Aubrey at 3, pretty much like everything you just said. So there's my 3 that I don't think can go. The other 4 I think could go. Joe and Aubrey, I think, are fine this week. And, yeah, Aubrey's like a big threat to win, but I think you said it on the last podcast. The players out there aren't seeing that. We're seeing that at home. If you're watching the edit now, you're sitting there go, why the hell didn't we get rid of Aubrey? But I feel like this week what's going to end up happening is it's either going to be a predictable Kyle or Julia boot, or they're going to be able to convince everybody to vote for Ty, and Ty's not going to see it coming or think that he's safe and play the idol, even though they're playing it up like he's not trusting anybody. I think that he will trust people because he trusted Aubrey enough in the last thing to not play his idol or anything. So I think that he'll trust it enough, and Ty could go, or somehow Michelle and Kyle, or Julia and Kyle pull in somebody like Michelle and Aubrey or Michelle and Ty and vote out Sydney because that's who Kyle would want to go for. So that's the only way that I could see any of them going. I think Aubrey and Joe are completely safe, and I have Sydney at 4 because I think that's just such an unlikely scenario. But that really is, that would be a pretty good move, I think. Now, what do you think about this? Do you think that you could possibly see Aubrey, Julia, Michelle, and Kyle teaming up to vote out Ty?
I think maybe before I saw that preview, that would be possible. I think there's going to be like a coup to get rid of Ty. I mean, Kyle's going to be gung-ho about it. He's going to go completely after Ty. Might even completely forget about Sydney. I mean, you have now 2 people betray him just right in a row. I think he's focused on Ty. He'll get the numbers, and then someone will spill the beans. Someone will be like, Ty, look, if you use your extra vote or whatever your advantage is, or if you play your idol, you'll be able to take Kyle out, just like you took Scott out, and something like that. Or the votes will follow Sydney, or Julia's been playing both sides, or something like that, where they're ready to get Ty out. They do have the numbers, but someone then flips from that, or someone kind of gets wary of like someone's going to take. Yeah, or that's simple enough. We saw that with Aubrey and Sydney wanting to get Julia out, and then Julia wins immunity, and look, she's still around. It's final 7. I mean, that could easily happen. I don't think Ty goes home. I'm going to go Michelle at number 3. Pretty much everything you said. I mean, I know you're a way bigger fan of hers than I am, but she is in a pretty good spot. She's kind of in the middle. If she wants to work with Kyle, she can kind of pair up with Julia. If she wants to stick with her alliance with Aubrey and Sydney, she can do that too. So if anyone's going to swing power here, Michelle is necessary in that, and I don't think they're really going to go after her. And then at 4, I have Ty, and this might seem way too high, but like I said, they're playing this up as Ty is going to pull some move. He does have 2 advantages in his pocket. He is, like you said, a threat to win challenges, so let's see what Ty can do. I'm expecting something big from him this week.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, I still wouldn't be surprised, though, if Ty goes. But like I said, I saw 4 scenarios and what could possibly happen, and I'm just kind of going based on which one I think is the most likely and which is the least likely, which is why I had Sydney at 4. And then I got Kyle at 5, and that might seem kind of crazy. like to put him above Ty and Julia. But I just feel like right now the girls are so gung-ho on getting Julia out that Julia's in trouble, or realize Ty is way too powerful and they're going to get rid of him. I don't think they're looking at Jason as too much of a threat here. And that might actually help him right now to scoot by. They might look at Julia as more of a threat to actually win the game because she's played both sides. As Jason made his where he stood very apparent. Right, that might actually help him right now and get the girls to vote out Julia. So I have Kyle at 5. I got Ty at 6. I got Julia at 7. I think this is Julia's week to go, but I'm really hoping that they pull something on Ty and either Ty plays the idol or Ty goes home. I think that's the best thing for the season.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing for the season for me would be Aubrey going home. It would be the worst for my power rankings, but I'm kind of out of it anyway. There is some talk about that in the comments, but Aubrey being gone would open this thing right up, and it would be anyone's game for the last few episodes, and that would be really exciting to see. We have not seen that happen in, like, I don't know. I can't remember the last season where it was, like, wide open heading into the last few episodes. I'm going to go – it's kind of a bummer you have Julia lowest because that's kind of where I want to put her. I want to kind of counter you so I can gain as much points off of you as possible since I am down 5. So I'll go – it's hard not to go Julia at 7. I'll go Julia at 7, then I'll put Sydney at – I'll put Kyle at 6, Sydney at 5. So there's so few people left to really make up that many points, but maybe I can snag 1 or 2 each episode and take the lead.
Yeah, I'm hoping for something cool to happen this week. I'm hoping that I'm wrong and, like, Julia doesn't go or Kyle somehow make a move here. And maybe – with how, like, here's the difference here. Aubrey started out kind of slow, and then she really picked up. And she picked up for, like, a lot of episodes in a row. I mean, she's, like, going on, like, 5 or 6 episodes in a row here where she's been on fire. But Michelle has been very consistent throughout the entire season. She started off with a good premiere. She had then she kind of was, like, still getting confessionals when Beauty wasn't going to tribals at all. And she's been very consistent. She hasn't anything huge or anything small. Maybe they've been doing that because she does make a huge move. And that they needed to give a winner's edit to somebody who really didn't do anything up to this point. So I'm not ruling out the possibility that her and Julia do team up with Kyle and maybe Aubrey or Ty. Like, I'm not ruling that out.
Yeah, that's definitely possible that she's, like, has this big move coming. But you can also look at it as that's the perfect, like, final 2 or, like, final 3, like some sort of runner-up role where they want to, like, build her up because she does get to the finals. And make her a visible character when she doesn't need to be. And then she ends up losing because, I mean, the way Aubrey put her down last episode was pretty blatant, it seemed like. And Aubrey has been getting very correct confessionals and correct judgments and assessments when talking about the game or other players or motivations and things like that. So, I don't know. I feel like when you're not agreeing with Aubrey at this point, then your chances of winning are going kind of way down.
Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting to see. I think Aubrey's still in the driver's seat. I'm surprised about the Edgic thing, but we'll see. I mean, who knows, man? This could just be one of those seasons where somehow Michelle wins it, and Jeff's like, "Oh my god, what the hell?" And you know, somebody brought up a really good point. I don't know if it was in our comments, it could have been on Sucks or Reddit, but I read this somewhere. Somebody said that this season's a lot like Marquesas, where out there on the island it wasn't very much fun to shoot, but it seems like the viewers actually do kind of like it. And yeah, Marquesas has grown over time where more people like it because of Boston Rob and all that stuff. But like it seems like Jeff was low on the season just because it seemed like it was a pain in the ass to do everything involving it. And then it ends up being a really good season and nobody really has any problems with it at home and they're kind of surprised. But like production seems like they really disliked it more than anything. You know, so I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like Michelle ends up pulling this out.
Yeah, and maybe it wasn't a Reddit comment or sucks comment or something. Maybe it was just me saying they had like over a year to edit this thing and that Jeff never got to see the edited version. And they just had so much time to like find the best moments. I mean, I don't know if they spent any more time than regularly, but it was so underhyped and it's been so good. I mean, even if this season was hyped as like a great season, and we see what we have, we would say, wow, yeah, it was right. Like every episode has been really good. I mean, there was like that one, I mean, even the merge episode with the medevac, it wasn't like a bad episode. I know this is the predictions podcast, but just looking at last week's, I think a lot of people absolutely loved that episode completely. They loved it more even than the week before, which I don't agree with. How did you, what was better, episode 9 or episode 10?
I think episode 9 was better, but anybody who thinks that we didn't like last week's episode is crazy. Like, I really liked last week's episode. I just thought, oh no, now we know the end game. So maybe I'm wrong. I could be pulling what everybody pulls with every show on TV nowadays where they can't wait a week and they just complain because nothing happened. And that could be what I'm doing right now because I have this theory that I think is going to come true, but I'm not going to let it ruin my watch. You know what I mean? Like, I have this theory and we podcast about it and I almost convinced myself it's true. But, like, I don't know, in the season, I thought last week's episode was awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. The only problem with it was just so, I felt like just so obvious that Scott was going home. Like, they left who else was it going to be? I mean, Aubrey was not going home.
Yeah, it was either Scott or Aubrey, and it just wouldn't have made sense for it to be Aubrey.
Yeah, I had I gave 0% chance to Aubrey going home. When maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I'm just overvaluing that, and maybe people at home and most people enjoying the show are like, wow, it's Aubrey or Scott, 2 big characters this whole season. Which way is Ty going to go? And that's like a really suspenseful moment. For some reason, maybe I'm just looking into things too much and had this assumption in my head, but that was not suspenseful in the slightest for me. So that's why I liked episode 9 much more, because of that whole show at Tribal Council that they put on with the idols and people talking and Debbie kind of taking a stray bullet there. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, I agree. I just thought that was a better episode, but this one was still a really good one. And now we're looking forward. Should I just start going through comments and we'll just kind of roll with that? And, I think a lot of it's prediction type stuff or basing it based on if last week was a good move.
Let's do it.
Try not to be too repetitive with the comments during this episode because I know like a lot of people probably said the same thing. So if you were first, you win. But Rick Winterfell, I don't see Aubrey winning as much as the Wentworth, Sesternino, Spencer 1.0. I think she's an obvious Jerry threat behind Ty. He's saying he doesn't see her winning much like those Wentworth, Sesternino, and Spencer, where like it was too obvious.
It's so hard to talk about like Sesternino and Amazon and compare it now, like editing wise and everything. It's just so hard. Spencer, I mean, I never thought Spencer was really going to win Cagayan. I was hoping because he was such an underdog. But I don't know. It's just because it's been the trend of these last few seasons to have like a really obvious winner. It's just how it's been going. Maybe they changed that, but you got to remember, like most people don't even think about edits or anything. They just watch it and it's enjoyable and whoever wins, and they like that person deserved it because they was subconsciously they're getting so much from that person. But since we started this podcast, I mean, this is technically our 4th season. We did the back end of San Juan del Sur. We've had it like spot on when we've called this. And people say everyone always jumps on the person getting the biggest ad and is wrong. We haven't been wrong. It's been 3 in a row.
I mean, I've been wrong before. Like I thought Haley was going to win Worlds Apart. Like I thought she was getting a cool edit because it was positive and it was middle of the road. But like once an edit takes over, like right now Aubrey's, I know this is final 7, so it's a little bit later, but like we were saying even last week, like it just seemed like after last week's episode, it just seems like she's going to be the winner, and that's kind of what happened with Mike once Haley went home. You knew Joe wasn't going to win, you knew Jem wasn't going to win, you knew Shireen wasn't going to win, and none of the other people were going to win. Carolyn and all them, you just knew. And the same thing last year with whatever, I can't even think what it was called anymore. Second Chance. Yeah, we knew it was Jeremy. It's just we thought there might be a tie at Final Tribal, but we always thought Jeremy was going to end up beating Spencer if that ever happened. We didn't realize how much everybody disliked Spencer. We completely underestimated that.
Yeah, I mean, that was at least, I think last season was better than Worlds Apart or San Juan del Sur in terms of like knowing who's going to win. But we always really had. I mean, we did our 3-3-3, I think, or even maybe a 5-5-5. We were predicting or 4-4-4. Who knows? We were calling those always. I think Jeremy was near the top or at the top for most of those predictions when we would have to, early on, just because it was such a consistent, heavy edit. Again, it's the same thing with Mike. I didn't want Mike to win because it was too obvious. I'm not rooting for Aubrey at all anymore. Even though I think she'd be a good winner, she's playing a great game. I want my head to be spinning come the last few episodes.
Yeah, for Aubrey to lose. For like the era of Survivor, like, for like people 20 years from now, when they look back at Survivor season 32, you want Aubrey to win. But like otherwise, from an entertainment standpoint, I want somebody else to win, so I'm surprised.
All right, let's get into comments.
All right. Yeah, Malcolm Jr., great podcast, guys. Love the fun debate. See, that was a fun debate, Will.
It was.
Revenge of Sharma. Yeah, we liked it. Revenge of Sharma, one move can change the whole game. Ty, by not giving the idol to Scottish, changed the whole game. He's got the power. I don't know if he's got the power. He's got a lot of advantages, but he's got to make sure he doesn't get blindsided now. Revenge of Sharma, Ty's resume triumphs all the other players combined. I cannot imagine anybody else winning the game. I mean, we think Aubrey. I mean, Ty could definitely still win this. He definitely could. But, like, it's a long shot. If Aubrey goes this week, I might sit there and say Ty's probably going to win. You know what I mean? But, like, it's a long shot.
It is total long shot. I don't know. Everyone else moves combined. I think Sydney and Aubrey have made some really good moves. Julia, I think, is playing a really good game. Everyone's moves combined. I don't know. I think that's. I think you're giving Ty too much credit there, especially if you're. I mean, I still agree with Phil mostly that it wasn't his best move last week in Ty not playing the idol or even voting Scott in the first place. I was just making the argument that it wasn't the worst move of all time, as Phil was saying. But I don't know if you give credit to a move like that, or not yet, at least.
Yeah, and see, this is kind of like where you were saying people don't look at the edit nearly as much as like we do. I mean, that's what we have to talk about. But like my parents both think Ty's going to win too. So like maybe we just look so much further into it that right now, like most people are sitting there going, Ty's going to win, and we're the only ones who are really thinking like, oh, Aubrey's got to get in this stuff.
No, we're not the only ones. I mean, if you watch
it seems like a lot of people are high on Ty.
Yeah, he's the fan favorite. It's like people are thinking Rupert is going to win in Pearl Islands because that's who people want to see win. They want to have their, hopes and dreams come true. But that's not how life works. That's not how Survivor works.
Yeah. All right, let's move to the next one. Revenge of Sharma again. Ty, Aubrey, and Joe, plus the idol, plus the advantage. That's a new alliance. They will weed out the rest of the women first, then Jason. That's a bold prediction. Say Jason's going to last longer than Michelle and Julia and Sydney. That would be crazy. That would mean Jason did some scheming too.
Yeah, I can actually see Aubrey and Jason working together. I think there's a lot of mutual respect between them, especially when they had that immunity challenge where they were going at it really, really strongly. I think they know that each one is playing the game as hard as they possibly can, and they enjoy that. And if Kyle's going to reach out to someone, you're not reaching out to Joe because Joe is just not really going to change his mind. He's extremely loyal to his alliance, and he's not playing that hard. He's comfortable. You reach out to someone like Aubrey, who has shown that she's willing to make moves. She cut ties with Debbie, who she was really close with, all this stuff. So it would be fun to see Aubrey and Kyle have a working relationship and form some type of alliance. I'd like to see that.
Cool. It would be a very random alliance to have happening. Those are always fun ones. It's kind of like why everybody liked Ty and Caleb. Johnny Beartech, I mean, this guy's got 45 different Twitter accounts. This is great. But anyway, my power rankings this week, Joe, Michelle, Sydney, Aubrey, Ty. I actually just hit the wrong button. Something. He's got Julia at 7, but then he says, just kidding. She's going to win immunity. I don't think she needs to win immunity to not go. I just feel like it's not going to be Kyle, and that means it's going to be her. That's the only thing I think.
Yeah, Julia seems like a good person to go. I mean, we both have her at 7 for a reason. We didn't really talk about it that much, why we think Julia is at the bottom. It seems like Ty is going to be this big target everyone wants to get out, and who's going to kind of flip the script? on that. I don't think Julia's a person who's going to go against that. And if Ty can, weed together Aubrey, Michelle. I don't know. Is Michelle going to vote Julia though? I guess that's a better question to ask because we're down to 7.
Julia.
But let's just hypothetically, like they're trying to get Julia out. Sydney, because Sydney isn't really a fan of Julia, and Aubrey clearly isn't a fan. They know what she's up to. And then you have Joe who will be with them. All you need is one more. Would Michelle vote Julia? And I guess Ty could vote Julia also. But just a question to toss out there because they're like a pair earlier on, but now we haven't seen them be that close, kind of down the line. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think she would vote Julia, but then you got to also remember last week Julia and Michelle voted together, and I don't think Julia thought Ty was going home, I think, and I think Michelle probably thought Ty was going home as well. I mean, because she didn't vote for Scott like everybody else. I mean, maybe that was to force the tie, maybe it wasn't. I don't really know, but it seemed like Julia definitely thought Ty was getting the most votes and should play as idol. So maybe Michelle doesn't really know what's going on as much either, but I couldn't tell you, really. I think she would vote Julia, though, if it came down to making sure she stayed in the game.
Right. Obviously, if it's her neck or Julia's in that case. But because Aubrey and Sydney have been shown so tight, and Michelle kind of is in on those conversations, but they don't seem as together on these moves. Again, probably if Julia does go, it's probably Ty flipping over to not even flipping. It's just Ty. He flipped last week. He'd be voting with Aubrey, Sydney, and Joe. Maybe Michelle, Julia, and Kyle are all on the bottom. Who knows?
Maybe. Who knows, man? That could easily be the bottom 3. Easily. Johnny Burtek, we know we like to talk Survivor, but this is important. Is Will worried that the Warriors without? It's important.
Yeah, it is. I'm not so worried. My opinion on this is probably pretty crazy, but I think the best move for us right now is to lose the next 2 games to the Rockets on purpose so that the series is extended out another week and then just win game 7 at home with the squad we got. That's how you extend the series. Then you're not starting the series against the Clippers or the Blazers, who are both 2 very good teams who could beat us pretty easily without Steph Curry. So you want to have Steph miss as few as games possible at second series. So I would let this one with the Rockets go to 7. I doubt they're smart enough to think of that, but that's what I would do if I were in any position of power in the Warriors organization.
It's funny. I thought the same thing, but it looks like did the Clippers or Blazers win tonight? Because if the Blazers won, I know it was close, but if the Blazers won, then that series might go to 7, and the Warriors don't have to worry about it.
It's still on It's still on right now. It's a 2-point game. I don't know what I'm doing podcasting. I should probably be rooting for the Blazers. But let's get back to Survivor. That's the hot take there.
There you go. Johnny Burtek, bold prediction. Julia wins immunity, finds the hidden immunity idol, gets Ty, Jason, and Michelle to vote out Aubrey. Man, do you think there's going to be another hidden immunity idol hidden?
I actually don't think there will be. I think Rob was saying on Know It Alls that in a season with super idols where you can put 2 idols together, there has to be. But I think we already had the super idol drama. I think that's what we're getting from the super idol. It was a huge moment when Ty didn't give to Scott. I wish Aubrey was not the target for that vote. It would have been even bigger, at least for me. I think it's like they got what they needed from it. We're already down to 7. There's still 1 idol left in the game. There's still the extra vote. I don't think you need to throw that in there. Because then let's say you put it in now and no one finds it until final 6. And then let's say Ty doesn't play his idol this episode. Then you're sitting at final 6 and there's 3 advantages. And that's just you. Once you get down to like the very small numbers, you want people to be able to operate and actually use their social skills, manipulation, lies, the fun stuff instead of, I have an idol, so I can't go. Like instead of it's not as interesting when it gets late. When you have 11 people left, give me 3 idols. I'm all for it. Makes fun, makes for chaos, no pagongings. But this late in the game, I'm okay with just the people and their brains.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they should keep it the way it is, but I think they could hide another one. I think they very likely will.
You think very likely they will?
Fantasy advice. Yeah, I think it is likely they will. Another Johnny Beer Tech account, JB Fantasy Advice. Who do you think is getting the most winners at it? He's like trying to hide it, but then he keeps admitting he's Johnny Beer Tech. We're never going to say Julia. It's always going to be Aubrey right now. Austin Harper. I don't watch much Survivor, but Johnny Beer Tech and Johnny Talk Sport has been saying Julia is getting a winners at it each week. But I honestly think Julia is getting voted out this episode. Sorry, Johnny. I think we both think the same thing. That's why we have her at 7.
Could that be one of Johnny Beer Tech's other accounts, and he's having like a conversation with himself, and he's trying to like
he might be.
prove his point?
He might be. Maybe he is. Man,
I'm confused.
He's got a lot of accounts, so I wouldn't be shocked.
I'm confused why there's so many. But I mean, I know we say we think it's Ari, but Julia. I mean, we did our 3-3-3 before, I guess, episode 9. I had her at 4 out of 9 on like the potential winner ranking. You had her at like 8 or 7 or something.
7. Which was wrong.
I think Julia could win. I think she is. I think she is a contender on Inside Survivor. Their Edgic, they have her. They have her eliminated. So I don't know that's possible. Top is they have Aubrey, Sydney, and then in the middle they have Michelle, and then everyone else is eliminated. So I don't know. When you look at Edgics, it's usually just one person doing it. I want to see like a communal. I mean, I know there are some. I'm not that into the Edgic game. I like talking about the edits, but the charts kind of. I don't really need the charts really.
Yeah. Harold Rice, you two listen to Evolution of Strategy. I don't.
I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to pay to hear someone else talk about Survivor.
When I know the most about it.
Yeah,
so
when it's like, or when I can listen to a lot of people talk about it for free.
Yeah. Emily, I see Ty as Keith. Thoughts? I mean, yeah, I could see that. He's the big fan. Not a huge chance to win.
I don't know. Ty playing the game. I mean, you have him climbing up the tree, bleeding to find an idol, and then Keith, the idol, jumps out at him from a bush. Like, it just completely opposite ways that they're going about. I mean, Keith was like, whatever. Ty is don't. I mean, he's making moves. He's flipping on people. Keith never really flipped. He just kind of went, oh, shucks. Like, all right. He almost left the game because it was like him or Kimmy. And he's like, Kimmy, you're a good girl. I'll leave. Like, he almost just got up and left when he didn't need to.
She's a single mama, man. Larry Miller, should Sydney go to the M with Jason? Was the Girls Alliance effective? Yeah, I mean, effective for Sydney. I don't know. What do you think?
Is the Girls Alliance I mean, it's hard calling it a Girls Alliance when you have Joe voting with them every time. But Sydney and Aubrey's partnership, I think, is extremely effective. And they're on to Julia. They've been on to Julia. I think
it can't be a Girls Alliance when Joe is voting with them and Julia is not a part of it, really.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean? Exactly. And
yeah.
Michelle wasn't even voting with them. Or not that Michelle's like on the outs with that alliance, but she wasn't in on their plan either. So, yeah, that's why it's kind of hard to call it a Girls Alliance.
Yeah. Larry Miller, are you dating any of the Survivor women? Not yet, but one day, right? Right, Will?
Probably not, actually. But
no, probably not. Let's see here. Emily, who from people who've gotten voted out would you want to have a second chance? This is always a question. Darnell, Caleb, and Neil. I'd probably like to see Caleb play again just because he got medevaced. Darnell, I really don't want to see again. I don't know.
Play again, I'd go Liz, Anna, and exactly. I go Kyle. Honestly, he's the most entertaining, most fun player to watch, at least for me this season.
Yeah. All right, man. Now here's first, Giovanni Oriana. Should Aubrey really be concerned about Julia? This Aubrey-Julia feud seems similar to Amanda and Alexis and Micronesia. Thoughts?
Well, I don't know. Amanda and Alexis, that was like a jealousy of Aussie thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that had much to do with the game. This is way more game related. And Amanda was like, Parvati got tribe swapped and ended up with Natalie, and Alexis kind of reeled them in. Amanda had no direct connection to them. I think Aubrey and Julia, was really tight with that alliance, and then she like has just been so blatantly playing both sides. It's really coming from that and not any sort of like power struggle. I don't know. What do you think?
I think you hit that pretty much spot on. The Amanda Alexis thing was really over Ozzy, and Julia Aubrey is really over the game. I mean, I think that's the difference.
Right. And and Amanda didn't feel like she knew those girls at all because Parvati was the one kind of keeping them at bay and was on the tribe swap with them. So.
And that's why Parvati won. Trey Corby, there's a rumored medevac this episode and press photos on Inside Survivor. Who do you think it is? How will it affect the game?
Oh,
I just looked at the press photos on Inside Survivor. There's one picture of a helicopter. And it looks like it's after a reward challenge. That could just be them going on reward. Like they could actually go somewhere.
I mean, I have Joe number 1. I mean, that's a sure way to just end my whole power rankings game. It will be like you winning power rankings will be like as obvious as Aubrey winning this season if Joe gets medevac.
I hear you.
I'm trying to find like the press photos right now.
I just looked through them and it doesn't scream medevac to me. It really doesn't.
Okay. Well, you read the next comment while I look them up.
Okay. All right, we're on to YouTube. This is from last week just because there's a lot of comments while we were off. Morgan Osborne, now we're seeing Mark the Chicken in the previews. Maybe his end is coming soon. Very true. And then also Aubrey's deranged llama comment, channeling her inner Tony, confirming her victory. There you go, Will. They're even bringing llama logic into this.
That's perfect. I love it.
Luke Scott, I'm with Phil, saying Ty made a good move and his MVP is absurd. Time for me an alliance with 2 idols, super idol and an advantage with 2 guys he'd obliterated the final tribal council. To the girls' alliance that no longer needs him and will vote him out at the drop of a hat. While it was great TV, it was easily one of the single worst strategic moves in recent seasons. To add to this, when Scott Pollard got voted off, he said he wasn't going to vote out Ty. When his initial reaction was like, I wasn't going to vote him out. I was going to absolutely give him the idol if he got the votes. And he even says he was convinced he was going to get the idol from Ty. So I really think Scott was really blindsided by this.
Oh, he was. And then I know he was also asked, why didn't you put up a stronger fight? And he was just kind of like, you could just tell right immediately in Ty's eyes. Like Ty had made this decision. There was no use in, trying to change Ty's mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's weird with the Ponderosa thing. They tried to redeem Scott in Ponderosa from how he was in the season. His Ponderosa was depressing as hell. And you actually feel for him as a person. That was interesting to me. If you haven't checked that one out, check that one out.
Yeah, he had good interviews too.
He did. I really it was just him and Jason together was the worst thing for them. Emmett B, that move by Ty was the best for viewers, but worse for Ty chances of winning. Extra vote is going to be over 3. We've talked about that a lot. Gamer Girl 2330, I really loved tonight's episode, and not just because Scott going home. There are so many other things I love. So happy Will's prediction about either of the bullies going home this week came true. By the way, that one of them was going to go home this week. I mean, because you were smart, right, Will? Is that about it?
I mean, I'm on my episode 11 predictions. I can't really remember what I predicted before episode 10, but I'm sure I was spot on, as I always am.
Gamer Girl 2330, I personally like Ty's move. I like it because, one, it got rid of one of the bullies. Ty's now on the light side again, but I don't think that he has an advantage. Both Dan and Steven were treated because they had the advantage. The same thing will happen to Ty. Sorry, Phil, but I'm on Will's side of the argument. That sure seems like you just took my side, but we won't get into that.
This is way more divisive than I thought it would be. I was kind of playing devil's advocate against you because you were saying it was terrible, the worst ever. And I was saying, did he prove his chances of winning? I don't think so.
It wasn't the worst ever. I don't think I ever said it was the worst ever. It was really bad.
I don't know. You were using hyperbole, obviously, but you were really, really down on this move. And I was kind of looking at it, well, let's see how this plays out because there is a chance that he can pull this thing off. I don't think he will. I also said I don't think he had a chance pulling it off if he had stuck with Kyle and Scott. I just don't think he gets to the end in either scenario because he's just too likable. And is now super threatening with these advantages. I mean, I just don't think it would have happened either way. So I was kind of playing that side. That look, he is somewhat. I mean, if you look at it, just as just from an outside viewer, if I say Phil, you will be in Survivor, you will be in the final 7. You'll have an idol in your pocket, and you'll have an extra vote, and people don't know what the extra vote is, but they do know you have an advantage. Would you take that? And I know there's so many other variables that are not included, but you take that.
They know he has the idol too.
But you sit there, I mean, as opposed to like what? You could be the first boot. Like you would take that for sure.
Well, that's true. No, that's true. Yeah. I mean, I get it. He's in a good spot, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I liked what somebody said about all he had to do last week was use the extra vote, was say to Aubrey, hey, I'm voting with you. Use the extra vote with Ty, Jason, and Scott. And the 3 of them, they use the extra vote. It's 4-3-2. Aubrey goes home, and they still have both idols. I like that move, but clearly that's not what they were thinking on this show.
No, I mean, that would have been awesome. Just quick here, Chris Paul leaves Clippers game with a fractured right hand. So,
wow.
If the Clippers do win the series,
wow,
then it's both starting point guards are out, and I feel much more comfortable beating a shorthanded Clipper squad. But anyway, back to Survivor.
Gamer Girl 2330. There are 4 episodes left. Finale is May 18th. CBS confirmed. So they'll go to the finale, and that's good to know. We were talking about that last time, so that's good. Now we know we have something to look forward to here. And then Gamer Girl 2330. Did you notice the Blindside music is back? They just changed it up a bit. I noticed this on my rewatch of last week's episode. This is another thing I loved about the episode.
Yeah.
Raider 980. Will, you already commented on this, so I don't know if you want me to read that, but then we can read his comment to you.
Go for it.
You want me to read the whole thing? Okay. I just get so confused when you comment. You all are the only ones I've heard down on this episode. Fantastic episode, one of the best in memory. And since when have you all been saying Aubrey is the winner? You've been Michelle all season. Oh, and before Anna went out, it was Anna. First time I heard you all say anything about Aubrey. Winning was last episode. This is in no way set. Aubrey doesn't have it in the bag. For this episode, it was Michelle. Lots of things could happen. If Aubrey could have been out this week, then it would have been a predictable ending. I think you all have this completely backwards. And then Will commented, and then Raider 980 with a nice comment here to acknowledge that he was wrong. Phil and Will, oh yeah, I guess you did all pick Aubrey in the top of your 3-3-3. I even watched that. Guess it was too many scotches, and I forgot. No problem with that. I hope you're right. I think an Aubrey win would make this season one of my favorites. The reason I don't think it will happen is because it would be good to be true. I expect something will happen and she'll lose. She could be getting the edit because she's the medevac. Another possibility that explains both Aubrey and Kyle Jason's edit. She takes Kyle Jason to the end, and it proves to be another one of her bad decisions. Loses to him. Devastation. I don't see Aubrey losing to Kyle.
Aubrey is not losing to Kyle. I don't think Aubrey's losing anyway. Yeah. But it is really interesting, though, because I think in Worlds Apart, when we were going Mike, like the Hump Day Camel, we were just going Mike. And most people were like, yeah, it is Mike. It's so obvious. Some people were like, no, you guys are he's just getting the biggest edit. That doesn't mean he's going to win, blah, blah, blah. I think here with Aubrey, I don't think people are agreeing with us as much, Phil. I think people are way more open to another winner. Yet I think this is, as of now, I think it's pretty clear. So this will be a much better test to see if we really are reading these edits correctly. Because the last 3 seasons we've done this, it has been very easy. It might be easy in our heads right now, but so many people are thinking that it's not Aubrey and that she's just getting played up as a big character who will fall, that it's kind of getting me more amped that other people don't find it as obvious.
Yes. And I like that. See, it's still like we're looking at it as kind of predictable, but like it really isn't that predictable. In terms of recent seasons, this is probably the least predictable of who's going to win. And I guess last season wasn't too bad because you had Spencer, Wentworth, and Jeremy, and Spencer was being played up as the fan favorite. Wentworth had a legitimate chance to win that game, I think. But, other than that, one of the questions on Twitter was just, is the final 7 of this season better than Cambodia? Or will I think 100% because you have 4 people who I think can legitimately win the game. Maybe 5. Actually, I would go and say 5 people can legitimately win the game. The only one, let me look at this real quick.
Joe.
The only one I might say 6. I think the only one, Joe can't win and Kyle has like a point, but I think everybody else can win. I just think that right now it really looks clear that it's going to be Aubrey, though.
Right. And we'll see. I'd
love to be wrong on this.
And every episode One episode is so revealing. Like if Aubrey has like a down episode this week, then everything might change. But it's just been like 5 episodes in a row. It's hard not to notice this.
Yeah, and once again, back to the whole Phil, you've been Michelle time. She was my winner pick. She's from like near my hometown, like really close. So that's why I've been so high on Michelle. I have to like convince myself. Like I'd say Michelle's third best chance to win the game right now, behind Julia. I think the two. I think Michelle's third, but never give up the dream. All right. It's Jeff 96, MVP Aubrey, pretty self-explanatory. She's been dominating post Neil Medevac. LVP Ty, he went from being in a super powerful position, being in an alliance with 2 idols and a voted advantage, to being 4th in the girls' alliance that doesn't fully trust him. Interesting. I don't know if you can call Ty the LVP because we haven't seen how this actually ends for him. I think Jason is the LVP of the episode because he lost his damn idol and his biggest ally.
Yeah, Jason did. We did do the polls. I don't know if you returned to the video, Phil, but the polls were up, so you could vote on that. And Aubrey won MVP, and Jason won LVP. They're both runaway votes.
Cool. It's Jeff 96. My predictions for the rest of the season: another idol is hidden. Jason finds it. Joe gets medevac. Julia gets Michelle to flip. Jason wins immunity. Uses his idol on Julia. Ty goes home with his idol. Jason, Julia, Michelle vote out Sydney after Aubrey wins immunity. Aubrey then doesn't win immunity, gets voted out. Jason, Michelle, and Julia. Jason wins immunity, votes out one, and then loses to the other. I would like that final 7. There's a lot of cool like fan fictions for this final 7 right now, which doesn't always happen. Like last season, there really weren't any fun fan fictions for the final 7 because 3 of the final 7 were kind of invisible.
Yeah, and 7 is just it's always kind of a good episode number just because it's odd. It's late in the season. It's not because often you have 5 is at the finale and it's like not one of the more important tribal councils and someone kind of lame goes home. 7 is, then 6 you sometimes get, ties or it has to be a 4-2, which just doesn't really, when you have 2 people needed to clear vote, it's just not as exciting. These 1 vote votes are so much more exciting. So I'm excited for 7. Good number to work with.
Yeah. Benjamin LaFleur, I agree with Phil. Giving Scott the idol was a cocky move. However, I agree with Will that Ty's move wasn't a bad one. Interesting.
I think it was confirmed. It was confirmed, I believe, that you had to have 1 idol in your possession at the start to play Super Idol. I don't know where I saw. Somewhere I think that was confirmed. Maybe in my dreams. Did that come out? Did you see that?
I saw something similar, but I don't think it was an absolute confirmation. I think people were using that as the excuse. But here's my problem with it. They gave Ty both idols. So if one of the people has to be in possession of at least one of the idols in order for the Super Idol to be played, why would they get idols and then neither of them even have one? So I don't buy it.
I think this is what it was. They gave 1 to Ty before and then said you have to vote for one of us. And then that was just kind of to mess with them, try to get them to turn on each other, even though they had already all planned on turning on Debbie before that had happened. And then once the votes have been cast, they're like, oh, we have this other idol. And they're just kind of like rubbing it in their faces almost. Like, look, we're just going to give this one to Ty also. And they were assuming that one of them was going to have to use a Super Idol, maybe Ty. I don't know. And there's definitely some rules here that we aren't seeing. And then we got into this debate a ton in the last one. Again, we'll hear from Kyle. He gave that to Scott for a very strategic, realistic, logical reason.
And here's my only problem with it. And this is my only thing. If Scott never would have had the idol in his hand, neither of the idols in his hand the first time at that first vote, but he could have still been saved. Why this time did he have to have one in his hand in order to be saved? That's my only question.
There might be a rule that says if there's 2 together before the votes are read, it can be played on anybody. Who really knows? I guess I don't have a good answer for your question because I just don't know the technicalities of the Super Idol. When it needs to be announced, when it needs to be played, what needs to be shown. Because when you do have the Super Idol, and I'm sure they went through this, it's just like they wanted two idols to come together, but you don't want it to be. It's complicated. I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, let me jump up real quick. Tori Cosgrove. I read on Reddit that in order to play the Super Idol on yourself, you must have at least half of the idol before the votes are read. So Phil, stop judging Jason when it was smart move to make. And then Fire and Ice jumps in and says, then explain why last week you guys gave both idols to Ty so he could play the Super Idol and whoever got voted out makes that rule invalid. And that's kind of what my point was.
That was before they were read, right? So didn't the first comment say it's before the votes are cast?
No, it says before the votes are read. Half of the idol must be in your hand before the votes are read in order to save yourself.
That can't be right, though. I think it's before the votes are cast. Yeah. I don't know.
Jeff needs to answer this damn question.
Yeah, it is annoying.
Jeff needs to.
I mean, Scott's answer for it in the exit interview was like he had immunity, thought I might need it in case I was going home, was kind of like a safety guard. I really don't think it was out of cockiness. I think it was like, look, worst case scenario, you play this in case something crazy happens at Tribal where Ty plays an advantage that they don't even know what it is. You know, there's bags of tricks. Like, it's Survivor. It's Tribal Council. Crazy things happen. I think it was really more of a precaution.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Morgan Osborne, random, but you guys have come a long way since your San Juan del Sur podcast. Thank you. Breaking Lost Thrones. I agree with Phil. Ty is about to join the list of survivors that flip at one tribal and then get voted out the very next tribal. Aubrey's about to pull the shrewdest move in the game, convince someone to flip and then vote them out for flipping. Even Dan fully knew that flippers never win. Good point. Could very easily happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I still don't think it does just because of the preview, but yeah, he's in a pretty tough spot. If people, I mean, especially because he is such a threat.
Yeah. Fire and Ice. Surprised you guys think this is a more predictable option. The other option is Kyle and Scott slowly pick off the rest of the Girls Alliance, then choose who they take to the final three. A very boring, predictable set of episodes, possibly. With this option, there's a ragtag alliance, then Kyle, Ty, and Julia all on the outside, able to go and flip with anyone else. So many different things can happen. Also, I think Ty loses if he gets carried to the end by Kyle. I see the jury filled with enough players to want Kyle to win after he controlled the whole game when Ty sat back and did nothing. I don't know. Go ahead.
I'll just touch on the predictability part. I think if Aubrey goes and then you have Julia, Ty, Scott, and Kyle, I don't think that's like a tight foursome. And that's why I would have liked to see that more. It would have been less predictable because Julia then probably flops right back over to Sydney, Michelle, and Joe because she just wants to kind of play both sides until she gets to the end and then says, look at this marvelous game I played. I mean, that's kind of what she's doing. Keep your goats around on either end. So I would have liked to see that where Julia goes and then Ty, he's been, up and down all season. Like he has relationships with those beauty girls. He has relationship with the Brawn guys. So I don't know. I see more unpredictability there. Now I feel like Aubrey is just going to take this alliance right down to the end, get to a final 2 or 3, and win an alliance side.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's feeling like. I feel like I kind of agree with you. I just feel like, Julia could have flipped to either side, and then Ty's advantage might have meant something. And now I feel like Ty's advantage doesn't mean anything because he can't swing enough people, or he doesn't need to, at least right now. All right, Twisty Pops, what has been your favorite episode of the season so far? We both agree. Not last one, but the one before it.
Yeah, the Debbie boot, I think, what was the best one. They're also, the pre-merge ones brought it every week, so I haven't really been able to differentiate them. I probably will at some point, but there's one or two, maybe episode like 4 or 5 or 6 that was awesome.
Twisty Pops, I think what will happen is Julia voted out next based on the preview. Then Ty is the biggest threat, but he plays idol. Sydney gets voted out. Final 5. Aubrey, Joe, Michelle, Kyle, Ty. Ty is voted out and fails extra vote. Aubrey gets Joe and Michelle on board. Kyle's voted out. Stupid move by Joe and Michelle. Final 3. Aubrey, Joe, Michelle. Joe wins immunity, takes Aubrey to final 2. Aubrey wins. It's just my prediction, guys. Knowing me, it'll be completely wrong, but I just wanted to try it out. it would be really funny if Joe made the final two. I just think that he has the least amount of chance to make the final two.
He's getting 5th place or 4th place. Like, it's happening.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I just feel like that's what it has to be. Graham Pawelski. God, I hope this is the last long comment. I know you guys are sure Aubrey is the winner, but I like to mount a case for why she may not be. Firstly, we know that there's probably one more evacuation before the final. We have already been shown that Aubrey has potentially serious infection that could lead to her evacuation. We've not been shown any other survivor with a similar infection. It makes me think she could be the one evacuated. Secondary, Jeff Probst has stated this is one of his least favorite seasons. Based on the edit, I can't see Jeff saying this. If Aubrey was the winner, Aubrey would be Jeff's perfect winner, plays the game hard both strategically and at challenges, but she's not a man. He has praised her efforts on many occasions, so why would he be down on this season if she won? If, on the other hand, if Aubrey was not to win, particularly if she lost because of a medical evacuation, Jeff would probably downgrade this season because in the eyes, a less deserving player was the winner. I'm thinking the winner is more likely to be Michelle or Sydney. If Michelle is the winner, I can see Jeff being particularly peeved. The female did nothing but just rode coattails to the end. Keep up the good. Enjoy your recaps and podcast predictions. My God, my mouth is dry now.
All right, let me talk then.
All good points. Go. Just please, God, I can't speak.
Right, I know. It's tough. No, those are a lot of good points. It's just that Jeff didn't see the edited version of this season, and that's my counterpoint. He probably doesn't like watch the confessionals headed into tribal council. At least I don't think he does. I mean, he grills them when they're there and gets answers and then gets stuff going and kind of gets a feel for where people are at in the game, body language at reward challenges, people. Yeah. I mean, he's around these players. He knows what's going on. Doesn't need to see, a confessional or anything. So that's why if he sees Aubrey winning and didn't really see how she was playing, because if you're Jeff, if you're watching this from Jeff's point of view, has Aubrey, she's had some good one-liners at Tribal, but I don't know, like if you're Jeff, especially if you're Jeff and you love people like Kyle and Scott and they're getting, voted out 8th place, maybe getting voted out 6th place or 5th place, or maybe making it almost to the end and losing, someone like that, and you're just like, Aubrey, oh man, we got another Sophie winning. South Pacific was boring. I mean, couldn't you? That's the mentality that I see Jeff having. So that would be my counter argument to that, because he didn't get to see Aubrey's thoughts and process and everything.
Yeah, I mean, other than early seasons, I don't know how much Jeff is like getting from people like, dude, this is the best confessionals ever. I'm sure it was happening with like that, but like, I doubt that like people are coming off the beach like, oh, she's amazing, Jeff. Wait until you see the season play out. So like, yeah, there's been a lot of random moves. Maybe somebody like Aubrey wins and he thought at the time, oh man, everybody's going to hate her, just like you just said. And in reality, I think everybody pretty much likes her. I think everybody likes everybody on this season, to be honest. I think that the least likable people are probably the people Jeff thought would be most liked. Other than Ty, of course.
Yeah, and then you also have to remember
That's
that
like an obvious.
Yeah. And you also have to remember this was coming right after or right before Second Chance was going out to shoot, and there was so much hype for that, and he was like totally on to Second Chance. Like there was fan voting and excitement, and everyone was literally at a peak of Survivor interest about who was going to be on that season, watching that season. And so he might have kind of said, look, forget about Kaoh Rong. I'm all about Second Chance. Second Chance is airing first. We'll deal with Kaoh Rong later. That might have something to do with it also.
It's very true. Anthony Beam, you guys are right. It has to be Aubrey the way the edit is. Maybe Julia stretching a little bit, but I still really like this season because unlike Mike, she's not going on immunity run to win. She's outplaying everyone, though I wish the edit had her a believable or gave her a believable rival. It's a cool point. I like that. Aubrey doesn't have to win the challenges to get to the end. We always said that. Like we like that type of player.
Yeah, I remember saying that very thing going into the Worlds Apart finale. I know Mike's winning, but I want to see him get to the final three without winning both immunity challenges. And he goes out and he wins them both, and it's a bore. It's just an absolute bore.
Yep. Anthony Beam, I would like to see Jason, Julia, Caleb, and Anna on future seasons. Not Debbie or Ty, though. I like Ty. Anna because she got screwed by Tribe Swap. And like Wentworth, I feel like she has more game in her. I agree with all of that. And after watching like Debbie's Ponderosa, where she was completely shocked, calls it a blindside, says she couldn't believe she got voted out. And then in all of her exit interviews, she's just saying that like she knew it was coming. She knew it was happening. Debbie's too coachy. I don't want to see her play again and then just become like the next coach where like we just see her play 3 times. She doesn't really progress that much, but makes it to the end and plays a little bit better each time.
And not even be a good player. Just like keep getting someone. I mean, you saw it on the people's faces. It was Ozzy or coach. And everyone's like, oh my God, please let me be on Ozzy's team. Because one is a player and a good challenge competitor. And the other one is just a buffoon. And I like Coach. I'm a fan of Coach, but I agree with you. I don't need to see Debbie. Should we do that right now? Like a quick rundown of just the cast so far and who we want to see back and who we don't? Or who cares?
If you want to jump into it, I'm fine with it because I can do it pretty quick. I mean, then we don't have to answer those questions ever again.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Just because we get a lot of them and it seems like people are interested in that. And we also have season 34 coming up, which will have Kaoh Rong players. So Darnell, no.
Well, just run through it from the first vote, and we'll just go yes or no. We don't really have to give input. Just say yes or no.
I just said that. Darnell, no.
No.
Jenny.
No.
No. Liz.
Yeah. Maybe. I'm a maybe on her. I know you think she's your girlfriend. I'm a big maybe on her. She could have gone the Michelle route, which is what's
okay. Caleb.
Anyway, next one. Yes.
Yeah, sure. I mean, not a huge fan, but it's going to happen anyway. Alicia.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind if she came back.
That'd be hilarious. I'd love to see Alicia play again, actually.
Yeah.
Anna.
Yeah, she got screwed.
I'd like to see it. Peter.
No.
I don't even. Then we merged, right? Nick.
Well, what did you say for Peter? I didn't hear you.
Oh, no.
What did you say for Peter?
No. Nick.
I'd watch Nick play again, though.
Yeah, I'd watch Nick play.
I would watch him play again.
Yeah. Debbie.
Neil. I would watch Neil. Oh. We skipped Neil.
I forgot about Neil.
I would watch Neil play again.
I don't really care. I could take it or leave it. I think he should have given his idol to somebody. Then I might have liked him more. Then, we talked about Debbie.
Yeah.
Scott?
I say no with Debbie.
I say no with Debbie, and I say no with Scott, too. I think Scott went out just perfectly.
Yeah, I say no with Scott.
All right, cool.
Yeah, no way.
More questions
I don't want to see Scott play again.
Oh, I guess we should go to the rest
of the
what about
with the final 7 that are left?
Okay.
With the final 7 that are left.
I don't really need to see Ty play again. These big characters, it's like I think once you get your big season, it's always a letdown in the future. Not always, but it's like
I would see Aubrey play again. Aubrey, Julia, Kyle are the 3 that I would really like to see play again. And we'll see how Michelle goes. She's in the middle. But the other 3 I don't need to see play.
I'd see Joe play. All right.
I want to see him play one time. My God.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We didn't get to see him play this time.
Please. Yeah. Johnny Talks Sports. I looked at the season trailer again. I think Joe gets dehydrated at final 6. I mean, I'm pretty sure Joe's been dehydrated the entire time.
That makes sense.
The season trailer
I do think Joe's getting medevaced.
And I think it's next week. I don't think it's this week.
Okay, cool.
Johnny Talks Sports. I love this. I imagine him reading this as like a broadcaster as he's typing this. It's going to be a Hallmark episode for Julia. Eating of Mark the Chicken will be a plot for Ty to turn on Aubrey, as the reward challenge will be the loved one visit. Ty wins and decides to take Joe and Sydney with him, and then Julia frames Aubrey for eating that chicken, getting Ty, Michelle, and Jason to vote out Aubrey. Also finds the hidden immunity idol and watches and wins a clutch immunity challenge. Gets 8 more winner edits. Jesus, this is just a different level.
The only problem with this, and it's a bit. The only problem is that Julia says in the preview that she's going to eat Mark once Ty is gone. So I think that's kind of hinting that might not ever happen. I think Julia might go next week, and Ty will outlaws Julia, and Julia won't ever get to chew down on Mark the chicken.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. She'll have to go get her own chicken when she gets voted out. My Nintendo. I don't think Ty's move was all bad because he's now a lot more appealing to bring to the final 3 or 2 because he has at least 2 jury votes against him, Scott and Jason. Still think Ty's move put him in a worse position overall. And then also, Scott could have given the idol back to Jason. Neil tweeted that the rules of Survivor state that the idol is out of play if it is voted out in your possession. So he couldn't have given it back because he was voted out with it in his possession.
Oh, Yeah, I mean, he couldn't, obviously. It just was kind of a bummer how it all worked out.
Yeah. My man Nathan, I had a dream a few days ago that Michelle was the next one getting voted off. There's a 99% chance that I'm wrong, but might as well throw my prediction out there. Michelle's not getting voted off. I'd be so heartbroken if she went like this. God, that would kill me.
Went like what? In a normal 7th place vote?
Yeah.
With
everybody hating her? She's got to win the hearts of America first.
You know the Survivor theory that the 7th place person is better than the 2nd place person, usually?
That's a cool theory. I always heard that 4th place was the worst. That's what I always got. At least when they did a final 2. It was always 4th place.
I think it's just 7th place beats the runner-up. Like, it's always a better player. I don't know. It's a theory.
That's cool.
It might be true like 90% of the time.
Maybe. I mean, Milky Way and Ace Gaming, what do you use to make your videos? We use Google Hangouts.
And it sucks.
It's awful. All right, man. Finally on to this damn video. We made it to this video. And let's start it off with screaming from D6 Comedy. Y'all in trouble now, Philly and Willie. I am here live. Ha, 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 ha. I'll be watching this lovely podcast. And Guy Smiley responds with, they are screwed if you're watching live. I bet Will freaks out so bad he has to get medevaced.
My back is
any medevac in your future, Will?
My back is hurting me because I'm like leaning.
You've been like fidgeting.
I'm on like a new couch and I'm in a new setup here and I haven't really quite figured out how to be comfortable yet. So my back is kind of hurting. I might need to call Jeff, bring the shopper.
All right. D6 Comedy, Will, every episode you say you know who was going home. So true, D6 Comedy. Will's never been blindsided.
I always know. You got to be confident in it. I mean, actually, I also often say that
you're the Monday morning quarterback of all time. You're the best Monday morning quarterback ever.
Oh, you mean I knew I was going home during the edit? No, that's not always true. That's why I enjoyed the pre-merge so much because it was like up in the air. That's why I really enjoyed it. Like those Alicia votes where it was like Alicia or Darnell, Alicia or Jenny. Like I didn't know with those. I mean, those were good. But the past 2 weeks, it's been like a little bit more obvious. It's been exciting tribals, but Phil, you agree with me. You knew Scott was going last week. You knew Debbie was going the week before.
I don't know about the Debbie one. I mean, yeah, I kind of knew both. No, that's true. Yeah, okay, fine. Peter Rubenstein, Chris Paul just broke his hand. We already got that information, but he probably said that before you even knew. D6 Comedy, technically Rupert did win. He got $1 million.
That's
Doesn't
true.
Get the title of Sole Survivor, though. But he did get $1 million, which is really all anybody wants. Trey Corby, Phil and Will, if Julia goes home this episode, do you think that Michelle will vote for Julia like Aubrey voted for Debbie, since Michelle and Sydney's bond is also very strong now?
Yeah,
is Michelle and Sydney's bond that strong now?
I don't think Michelle and Sydney are that strong, but I could see Michelle voting for Julia if she needs to get on board with her alliance. It would be fun to see Michelle like own this as her own game. It does seem like she's been going along with Aubrey's plan, Sydney's plan, or like she was with Julia last week. Julia told her what to do. It would be cool for Michelle to be like, all right, it's Final 7. I want to do my own thing, come up with my own strategy, pull in the numbers that I need to get who I want out. I don't know who she really wants to target. If I'm Michelle, I'm probably going after Aubrey. So I don't know. I would pull in Julia, Ty, and Scott and vote out Aubrey. But Ty and Aubrey might be really close now also because they voted together. That was their whole move. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't really know. That's what's kind of interesting here is we don't know the dynamics completely still, and we're at Final 7.
It's fun. It's fun. It's how we like it.
Yeah, it is. Let's see here. D6 Comedy, Aubrey ain't working with Jason. I hope not. That's what he says, not me. D6 and I never understand sports fans. It's boring. The guys get paid more. It gives you never at least as true gameplay and not dudes running after balls in short shorts or tight pants. I like dudes running after balls in short shorts.
Yeah. The good thing about sports is that and Survivor.
You don't know who's going to win.
Yeah, I mean, even in Survivor, you're watching an edited version of a story and a narrative that they're telling you, and there's a winner at the end. and you kind of can see it coming in some cases. In sports, it's like everything is real. Like it's just going on, and it's whatever happens is actually happening. Like when someone hits a game-winning half-court shot, like that just happened. Like if you see a half-court game-winning shot in a movie, you go, that was complete.
Somebody wrote that.
Yeah, that was so boring. I mean, it was predictable. It was just so lame because, of course, it's a movie. But when you see it in real life and these people are, going after it, it's fun.
How can anybody who saw this year's national championship for college basketball say sports are bad?
Yeah, they're not getting paid anything. I don't think the amount of money someone gets paid is like determines my enjoyment. Like movie stars get paid. I like movies. I don't know why sports people take heat for getting paid. They work really, really hard to get where they are in their fields. So it's just they bring in a lot of money.
Yeah,
where else should the money go if not to the people or the athletes themselves? So.
Peter Rubenstein, Phil, you gave Julia a 0.1% chance, and now she has a good chance for question. It was like 4 weeks ago. Her edit picked up insanely after we did the 3-3-3.
And I predicted it.
You did. Doesn't mean she's going to win, though. Do you want to say something? No? Okay.
I'm reading D6 comedy. Keith's idol wasn't in a tall tree, so there's no comparison. The comparison is one of them is like grinding, bleeding, playing very hard, flipping, making moves, being an active player. Keith is a very inactive player, so much so that he had like a stick in a bush, and the idol like scared him when he found his idol. He literally got scared when it came out. That's kind of the parallel and comparison. It's actually a contrast since so there is no comparison. You're right. It's a contrast.
Thank you, Will. D6 comedy. I'm not letting you take like the last 4 comments. I'm like bleeding. My gums are bleeding. My mouth is so dry. And you're trying to jump in for the last 4 damn comments. No way, man. I've sucked it up this long. I'm going to keep rolling. D6 comedy. Willie Kyle has done nothing entertaining except be an asshole. If you enjoy that, brother, I don't know what to tell you. Y'all tell me what he has done entertaining. Push down a girl for the idol. Be rude to other cast members. What entertaining thing has he done this season? He makes me laugh.
He has funny lines about nerds or jocks stuffing nerds in the lockers. He's like very strong voice and has a good confessionals. And pushing Alicia down for the idol, like that is entertaining. That's a villain move, pushing down a girl who's already down in the dumps, making fun of people. I mean, it's just being a bull. I mean, that's your villain. That's entertaining. It's like they say, every Bond movie is as good as the Bond villain. And Kyle's a really good villain. So It's like, why do people love the Joker? Oh, he's so mean though. Oh, you can't like him. No, he's a character. It's fun to watch.
People don't like villains anymore, man. Now they have to like relate every villain to like something politically correct or whatever. I mean, look at friggin' Ramsay Snow in Game of Thrones, man. Everybody like just bitches about everything he does. It's like he's a villain. He's gonna die eventually. Just be happy. Like just watch it for entertainment. Don't try to make everything a political statement.
Yeah, I don't think that's what D Sigs is doing right now. I don't think Kyle's been that entertaining, but I think he is an entertaining character, and I would want to see him play again because I think he has the capacity to provide a lot of awesome moments.
What I'm saying is like he's saying like all he's done has been an asshole. He pushes down girls for the idol. He's rude to cast members. I don't think he's really rude to cast members. Like, I think he's just playing it up. And, like, people with – the problem with Survivors right now, everybody's taking it too seriously as if this is, like, the real person. People are, like, making crazy death threats to Scott Pollard. Like, chill. Like, chill. It's a show on TV.
Yeah,
like,
who's the real bully?
My God.
Who's the real bully?
Yeah, like, people calling Scott Pollard a bully and then saying they hope that his, like, newborn serious health problems, like, who's the bully there, guys? Like, chill. You're no better just because you're not on TV. Like, get out of here. I feel better now.
Okay.
I'm going to read the next comedy. If you were in Ty's position, of course you'd go idle and an extra vote. All he has to do is get Julia out next, then use the extra vote, the next move, and use the idol at final 5 instead of 4, but he will have to win out after that. And you know what? Ty can win out after that.
Exactly. That's
because they've shown him like as a serious challenge.
He has that like willpower.
But do you think that he can win at all here or no?
No, I don't think he. I think it's okay. Obviously, if out there on the show, we're at whatever day they out. Day what? 28, 29, 30, somewhere there. And I'm standing there on the island. Of course, he has a great shot, but just seeing what I've seen from the editing and that he has already been perceived as a big threat. He's too big of a threat. And I said that when we did the 3-3-3. He's just so likable. I mean, he really is just like one of the more likable people to ever play this game in 32 seasons. And they know that. And they spend 24 hours a day with him.
It's great with him. He dumped water on the fire, and he's still a fan favorite. But people want Scott to die. Like, that was more ruthless than Ty, but Ty was still dumping water on the fire. Nobody wants him to die.
Yeah, and Jatia burned rice, but it was hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Trey Corby thought we might as well jump to 34. Could you see Debbie and Carolyn from Survivor Worlds Apart being a power duo since they are both rumored to be in the mix?
I don't think they'd get along that much, actually.
I don't either. I think Carolyn would get so annoyed.
Yeah. She'd be like, who are you? Who is this Debbie lady?
Yeah. Yeah. Carolyn would win that battle, too, because Carolyn's really likable. And then Trey Corby, I agree with you about Aubrey winning, the Nick blindside, and the Debbie blindside. Aubrey, in my eyes, went along with it. Thoughts? I think Sydney's been entirely under-edited. I think she's made a lot more moves than they're giving her credit for, and I also think that's why she doesn't win, because it seems like she's been a huge part of the moves and gotten less of an edit than both Michelle and Aubrey.
Yeah, I agree. Sydney is playing a great game. That's Sydney's someone who I would I'd see her play again. I think she's fun.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's all the comments.
Well, there's a lot more. Peter Rubenstein. Oh wait. Oh, I'm not sorry. I'm sorting by the wrong way. There we go.
Yeah.
And then we have Gus Schultz. You're on Survivor and are allowed either Shake Shack or Five Guys every day of the island. What's it going to be? Wow. What do you think, Phil?
Five Guys.
Oh, I go Shake Shack. 100%.
No,
Shake Shack.
Easy. Five Guys easy.
Oh, so Shake Shack is so much better. I mean, I like Five Guys better than In-N-Out, but Shake Shack is like above both of them by a lot. And then we have Peter Rubenstein. Am I the only one who loves Rodney? No, we love Rodney here. I actually put Rodney as like one of the best players to ever play. The best non-winner, right?
You had him as like your top 10. It was pretty ridiculous.
He's a great player and a great character.
About Rodney and get everybody.
All right, update the boot list because this is running longer than it should for being,
Way
7
longer.
people left.
I need to be in bed. All right. I don't have this actually in order, so I'm just going to roll through this and see if I see any scores that are low. All right. Loki Lokinen, 50 points. Micah Roberts, 52 points. Angus J, 46 points. It's Jeff, 96, 44 points. Let's see. Alexandria Haas, 50. Will Holston, 42. That's the low right there, at least for now. Hang on, I'm still scrolling. Five White Guys, 47.
I bet he likes Five Guys.
46. He probably does. Adam Klein in first place with 40. And Luke Glads has 49, and there is your completely arbitrary reading off of scores.
Very cool. Perfect. And Portland won that game, so it's now 2-2.
Wow.
That helps the Warriors out. Steph Curry will have more time to rest. Maybe we don't need to push it to 7 with the Rockets if now Chris Paul has a fractured hand. The Blazers and Clippers can go to 7, and we can just rest. That works for me too.
Your whole team.
So Warriors will lock that up. When are we playing? Oh, I think we're playing on Wednesday. Oh no, are we playing Wednesday? Oh no. Yep, we're playing Wednesday at 7:30. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I'll make it work.
So you're gonna skip Survivor for a boring first round game against?
No, I might not. I think I'm gonna watch Survivor early, and then I'll watch like the first half, and then we'll podcast. That's what I'll probably do.
All right, man.
I get it done.
Cool. That's
okay.
it, right?
Everybody subscribe and stuff, and like and comment and all the stuff that we're supposed to ask you to do. So that'd be cool. It's obviously you don't have to do it. It's your choice, but it'd be, you can do that if you want. It would be nice. Help us out. Okay, Phil, you got anything else?
Nope. See you guys.